Well, I think there's a lot of digital music now in the industry also. So I think facilities are much better for the earlier musicians didn't have much of that. Also, I think you have to have this visuals and all that sort of thing today to sell.
Yeah. Talking about Mignonne Fernando, the musician, you have gained international acclaim and recognition.
So I always told my father, Dad, when I grow up, my name will be in lights and you will be proud of me.
All the genres need to thrive, yes.
You're trying to encourage that, yes. Pretty little bird, now you must fly away, spreading your wings to the sun. That is what my mama keeps on saying. Your wedding's arranged, little one. Kadali ativu kirili vaki demaupian sevane nidale unne mavinodayen vina amoda sahane Mangala nakatin pembara yakuha hetuma pita venava igana sitana mohatak pasa teneto piriyanava. Pretty little bird, now you must fly away, spreading your wings to the sun. That is what my mama keeps on saying. Your wedding's arranged, little one. Fluttering my eyes, I turn and walk away, wondering who will be mine. Will he be the one that I could really love, as in my zodiac sign?
You're singing single also, I really want to listen to it. The single version also. A bit.
Kadali ativu kirili vaki demaupian sevane nidale unne mavinodayen vina amoda sahane Mangala nakatin pembara yakuha hetuma pita venava igana sitana mohatak pasa teneto piriyanava.
Amazing. Welcome back to Power Moves. This is episode 12 of Power Moves, and by now you have an idea of who our guest is for today's episode. She is none other than consummate musician Mignonne Fernando, who has dedicated her entire life for her passion, that is music. Mrs. Fernando,
Exactly.
it's a pleasure to have you on Power Moves.
Yeah,
Welcome
thank
onto the
you.
show.
Thank you very much. Please call me Mignonne.
Of course. So, Mignonne, let's start at the beginning. Take us back to the early days.
Yes, the early days were I was not in the original batch. The four Jetliners, Indra Raj, I think Lucian was there before. But
Let's talk about way before the Jetliners.
Yes.
What first drew you to music,
I did.
and who were some of your
okay.
earliest influences?
Earliest, well, actually, I don't know who influenced me, because at 4 years old, apparently, my mama says that I got onto the piano stool and I started playing. And by 8 years old, I had written my first little composition called Desert Drums. And she didn't need to force me to play because I really loved the piano. I seemed to love the piano. And then, of course, I used to take these poems by Charles Lamb and, sometimes put music to it, sing them. And then I thought, why should I use Charles Lamb? I should be writing my own thing. So as I grew up, I started writing my own songs. And I think I am very much a composer-performer.
Okay.
A composer-performer. And music has been in my blood.
In your blood.
Yes. I didn't ask for it, but I'm very happy I have.
Was your family a musical family?
No, actually, my mother was musical, but my father's a mathematician. He taught for 35 years at St. Joseph's College as Arnold Ratnam.
Wow, what an interesting family. So, growing up in that era, Mignonne, what was the local music culture like here in Sri Lanka? How did your image, or did you ever imagine that you'd be one of the defining voices of Sri Lanka's Western music scene?
I never thought. I never thought. I just loved music. I didn't think I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that. I just did it because I loved it, you know. And of course, my father was a bit concerned because he said, I was a good student. I
Right.
came first every year except once with whooping cough. I got second.
I see.
But my father was a bit concerned, thinking, you know, music, they think, you know, those days, they used to think music is sort of somebody on, you know, doing the
Can you make a career out of
casual, yes.
music?
And,
Yeah.
and he didn't think much of it. So I always told my father, Dad, when I grow up, my name will be in lights and you will be proud of me. So that drove me to
That
do,
fire.
yes, do this music to the extent that my father will be proud, and I will be, you know, I will make it worthy, a worthy pursuit.
Yes.
Yes.
At the end of the day, it's not just your father, but the entire country who is proud of you,
Yeah.
Mignonne, certainly. So let's talk about the Jetliners era. Jetliners became one of the most celebrated bands of all time here in Sri Lanka, especially in the Western music scene. How did that chapter begin for you, and how did your sound stand out from the rest of them, including the band?
Well, actually, when I met the Jetliners were already they had already got their name, and they had sung for a concert at St. Peter's College.
Okay.
And Tony Fernando, who later became their manager, and my husband,
Right.
Tony Fernando was doing the sound. Now, Tony Fernando had this Binson Echo Rec,
Okay.
which is what they use for Apache.
Right.
That repeats.
In the olden days, yes.
Yeah, so then when he put that on, these Jetliners were like over the moon, because that's made them like sound like the Shadows.
Yeah.
So they went and met him and said, wow, that's beautiful, can you not manage us and all? And so they started off. But they didn't know, I mean, in as much as they were talented, they didn't have an awareness of chords and, you know, theory and that sort of thing. In the meantime, I was still in school. I was about 15, and I was in school and I was teaching Lucy Page, her daughter, music. So when my husband mentioned to Cyril Gardiner he's looking for a girl who knows about theory and everything, he said, well, my sister said that there is a girl called Mignonne Fernando who's teaching her daughter.
I see.
And would you like to this thing? So Cyril really was instrumental in
You
helping
joining the
Tony,
Jetliners.
yes,
Right,
joining
great.
the
So
Jetliners.
the Jetliners found success not only in Sri Lanka but overseas as well. What were those international tours and performances? Can you mention some standout tours
Yeah, well, I
that
would
come to
say
mind?
the Jetliners, as you know, are many generations, right? Because it's over so many years.
Yes.
But the early Jetliners, I think our first break was at the Taj, because we opened the first discotheque.
Okay.
That was called the Blow Up, and we also have a record, Jetliners at the Blow Up.
Okay.
So that was with Indra Raj and Luchan, Felix, Anton and Harris. And also then we had Desmond Chopman, another follow-up bass. And we had, of course, very good singers. Like we had Sohan Piris, who was also very talented.
who is still in the scene to this day, yeah.
Yes, that's right. Sohan Piris, then Conrad, who joined us later. And we had Desmond, of course. And Desmond
Desmond de
also
Silva.
came later. Desmond did one of my songs for me in Athens also, Bonissa. And Desmond also was, you know, you had a lot of talented people to work with. So I had to only channel them and guide them and give them material. And they were already there, you know what I mean? And all of them were passionate about music, you know. So it was not something that they came to. They just loved to do it. And we had that Louis Brown studio, which was excellent because we could record ourselves and learn from our mistakes, you know, and practice place and everything. So that was Tony Fernando's contribution, and thank you, Tony, for that. Yeah, that was great. Yes.
Who were some of your peers at the time, musicians, both male and female, that you worked with? Apart from the Jetliners, did you collaborate with any other musicians?
Not Well, I
vocalists?
did play when I was 12 years old with Adrian Ferdinand's combo at the Coconut Grove.
I
I
see.
was very small at
Golf
that
Face
time.
Hotel?
Golf Face Hotel.
Right.
And at the Coconut Grove, and I never knew that later Coconut Grove will be our scene, you know. But I played with Adrian Ferdinand, and they were the Joy Ferdinando, and I was still very small, you know.
Yes.
But I used to love this Pepe Aramilo music on the piano, and I used to play a lot of that. In fact, even now at the Cinnamon Life where I play with Suraj, I mean, I do Pepe Aramilo and people love it, you know, because I play the
The
grand
music is
piano.
evergreen.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Right. Talking about Mignonne Fernando, the musician, you have gained international acclaim and recognition because you represented Sri Lanka at the World Popular Song Festival in Tokyo, where you were in very close quarters with musicians like Benny and Bjorn from ABBA before they went on to found ABBA.
Yeah.
What was that experience like, meeting so many
Yes.
talented and so many experienced musicians in one place?
Yes, well, now that was a contest that I saw, and I thought, okay, I must write something for this. And I never expected to be chosen because 52 panel jury, and for the finals, only 10 countries are chosen, you know. But anyway, I was so happy when I was chosen in semi-finals and into the finals, because I sent in my entry because it was from Sri Lanka, and it gave me when I went there only, I found out the people like Tony Christie and all were taking part. I even beat Michel Legrand in my...
Wow.
Michel Legrand is a fabulous composer from France, but my song got a better mark. It just depends on the audience and
Yes.
the jury. Yes, yes. But that was wonderful, meeting all those people. And also it gives you an experience that you have to, you have to become evolve. Yeah, from
Yeah.
there, yes.
You've also worked with musicians of legendary status such as George Harrison of the Beatles. And we know how much of a force the Beatles are
Of course,
even
yes.
until today. What was that collaboration like?
No, actually, that was not a collaboration. We were staying in the same hotel.
Okay.
He had come to learn sitar from Ravi Shankar for the...
This was in India?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Ravi Shankar is another legendary musician in the
yes,
Eastern
that's
music
right.
scene, yes.
And they were doing a EP, I think, on with
Harrison and Shankar.
Sergeant Pepper's, I think, Sergeant Pepper's thing.
Right.
And they were doing that, and we were staying in the Taj. We were on a contract, and I had been playing this.
You were performing at the time?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And I was practicing this Akkaraga on my sitar, and I was just learning. And then he heard that, and when he heard that, he came into that place, and then he went and brought his sitar, and we did a little, playing together at first sight, because he also was learning. And he's such a humble person, wonderful person. Many years later, when I was still at the Taj doing some performance, he came and asked me how my compositions are, and I mean, I thought, oh gosh, I mean, he's so wonderful.
Yeah, for someone as popular as him
exactly,
to remember you.
remember me like me. And I was most amazed, and I just think he's a wonderful person.
Certainly, that's a testament to how passionate you are about music and the talent that you bear. Talking about your creative legacy, Mignonne, Mangala is widely regarded as the crown jewel of your portfolio, and even to this day it has become a staple in Sri Lankan weddings, regardless of the ethnicity of the marriage, the culture and so on.
Yeah.
What inspired that composition and what sort of
That is
emotions
very
were you
interesting.
channeling?
I wrote a trilogy.
Okay.
Starting with Danny Vadukale. That's a girl in the young days.
Yes.
Then Jeevite Vasante is the teenage years. And Mangala Mohata was when she gets married. So that was the trilogy I wrote.
Oh, I see.
See? And then
So it details the timeline of a girl.
of
Okay.
a girl.
Okay.
And then my husband was working with EMI as well. So when we went to England on a holiday, and we also popped in to see Sir Joseph Lockwood, which is EMI. And then my husband told him, which my wife also composed. So he said, oh, is that so? So I was so shy. So anyway, he sent me to this fourth floor, which is in the EMI there.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Phillips was there. And I had a little tape and all that. And he said, no, I don't want a tape. There's a piano. sit
Go and perform.
and sing.
Yeah.
So I sang some other songs with Diana Ross. He said, I don't want a wannabe Diana Ross. We have a Diana Ross. Sing something of yours. So I said, I've written it in my language. And I sang Cabaret. He was so enamored of the tune. So that tune is amazing and it's so simple, really. And that caught me, and he said, I want you in these 8 days that you are here to go back and write an English lyric for that. And so I wrote The Pretty Little Bird, as I
Yeah,
told
as you sang.
And then he said, I am going to give you a 7-year songwriting contract
Wow.
on that. And they called it the Ceylonese Wedding Song. So it's copyrighted by Keith Prowse Music, 1972, as the Ceylonese Wedding Song. Because we were not Sri Lanka yet.
Yeah, we were Ceylon.
Yeah, yeah.
So that has, you have defined an entire generation of music with all of those accolades and all of the achievements that you have come across. When we talk about EMI London, you became a composer performer.
Yes.
How did that partnership help you in your musical journey?
Yeah, because then, you get your recording facilities and everything. And then, of course, if the publishing, and then you get that backing.
Yeah, of
whatever
course.
it is,
Yes.
that backing is there. You're listed. You can see Frank Sinatra and yourself, you can see that. Now, Jetliners, this, that. So
Yeah.
that's quite
An
an honor
experience.
to be an EMI artist. I also met a very nice gentleman called Bhaskar Menon. He became top of the EMI in
Chairman
Hollywood.
of EMI.
Yeah, Capital. So he was wonderful. And he also was a great help. And even when I was at the Four Seasons Regent in Hong Kong, he came with Alfonso mangoes from India and gave me all these 24 mangoes and wished me for my birthday. Wonderful man. Of course, he passed away now. Yes.
Unfortunate. So,
Yeah.
you have witnessed the evolution of Sri Lanka's Western music scene for many decades now. You've been in it and you have performed with your peers. You've seen how the Western music scene has developed. Has it gotten better or worse?
Well, I think there's a lot of digital music now in the industry also. So I think facilities are much better. For the earlier musicians, didn't have much of that. Also, I think you have to have this visuals and all that sort of thing
Yeah.
today to sell.
Yeah. With
which
the advent of
yeah,
technology, yes.
So once I became a member of the Asian Composers League, which I was invited to, we had a very nice conference on market and the ivory tower.
I see.
Right? So one has to find a good blend of the two, a fine line, but a good blend where one can keep one's moral values and aesthetic
Yeah.
values, plus do a little bit of market to because you have to promote it.
Of course.
And keep the authenticity of one's sound.
Own flavor, yes.
Yes. So I think somewhere down the line, some artists are able to do that well.
Stay true to
but
their craft.
Some tend to sacrifice and go overboard just for the
Commercialization aspect of
and
things.
I think that one should keep the values there. I think
should
that
be true to
elegance
yourself.
and finesse should be there.
Okay.
I am an Asian person, and certain things in Asia we do, so we don't do like the West.
Yes.
So I think we can
We
get
have to
by.
hold on to our
You
values.
can, yes. We can sell our music. We don't have to go down to that where you really do some things that are not very nice on the visuals.
Great. So, who are some of the bands, in your opinion, who are some of the bands and musicians that defined the golden era of Sri Lanka's Western music scene? I'm saying from the late 60s to the early 80s. Who are some of those musicians you looked up to in the Western music scene
who I
in Sri
have?
Lanka? You have looked up to, or you believe have defined Sri Lanka's Western music scene over the years?
I think Raj Seniviratna was an excellent guitarist, and he also was a perfectionist. Raj.
Vocalists? Any vocalists?
Vocalists, I think Donald of Mirage. He has a nice, and he's a drummer as well.
Yeah.
and Misty also.
Misty,
He has
yes.
a very vibrant personality on stage.
Why don't we see or hear any purely Western bands in Sri Lanka anymore? There are, but it's to a certain niche.
The point is this, John, because the audience is also very influenced by the local music.
Okay.
So when you go for a dance, you can't see them playing all Western music because
Okay,
the
you
people,
can't stick to one genre.
you have to go to the local music as well.
Yeah.
And therefore, I mean, who are we to say we can't listen to our local music?
Yes.
When you go to Italy, the Italians like their music also.
Yeah.
They will do volare and quando,
Yeah.
And the Spanish
That's them
would do the
celebrating
same.
their culture.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
understandable.
So I suppose that will definitely have an influence on it. And also the fact that when we played at the Coconut Grove for those 365 days, it was more Western.
Right.
Because the people were jiving and doing all the Western music dances. But now people don't know that much. They are just into the
Entertainment
side-to-side
trends
thing
have shifted.
differently.
So is Sri Lanka's Western music scene at risk due to commercialization and those shifting entertainment trends?
Yeah, I would say so. It's at risk. It's not at its full potential, definitely. And I think there are few bands that are doing it well, doing covers and things like that.
Yes.
But you can't blame them because they also have to think market. And if they do only that, they're not going to get their audience.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And that's
so-
their bread and
yeah,
butter.
yeah.
They need to
True,
find
true,
they need
true.
to find the funds. What can stakeholders within the music industry, particularly Western music in Sri Lanka, do to uplift the standards of Western music in Sri Lanka, help composers, help budding vocalists, composers, lyricists, so on, to come forth and present their work and to bring them to a different platform?
Well, I think radio and television should inspire them. Perhaps have a talent thing that where they give you do have some talent
do,
things as
yes,
well.
there are
But
reality shows.
invariably, maybe you should say that we want to do some Western things. And
purely
then
Western.
give them, because otherwise they will definitely bring something in with the local thing.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with
And
it. It's
then
just
there's
that
nothing wrong, but
all
you're
the genres
trying
need to thrive. Yes.
you're trying to encourage that. Yes.
Finally, Mignonne, what advice would you give a young musician who is aspiring to, well, essentially live the life you've lived, having international acclaimed, working with a band, being in the same company as legends in the music industry globally? What advice would you give them, and how would you tell them to stay true to their art in the industry
True to their
without
art.
being...
First of all, I think there should be. I thank my mother for that. Definitely there should be a knowledge of the theory and the chords of music, because with that balance I had the LTCL and all that, and even though that was classical
formal
music,
education, yes.
formal education, but even if they can't get at least a grade 5, they don't have to do the exam, but they can do the theory and learning the chords, because when you have that, and then listen, because today internet has so many artists who are
Yeah.
teaching you new chords
Yes.
and things like that Valerie Stepanov and all that, and then fabulous music. And then you find the Suraj has all these beautiful
There are endless
programs.
sources you can learn from. Yes.
You can learn from that, and it's just fabulous. So I think that one should listen,
Stay
a lot,
curious.
and listen and expand one's horizon. Don't coop it up like that. Expand one's horizon. Be open to all kinds of music, but know what is your genre and what you would like to be heard as,
Right.
That is
So you have to carve out your own space
definitely.
within the wider
Yeah,
industry.
yeah.
Amazing. Mignonne Fernando was my guest on Power Moves today. She is someone who has dedicated her life to music, and she has also been celebrated for all that she has poured in to especially Sri Lanka's Western music scene and also the global music scene as well. Mignonne, thank you very much for coming
You're
on
welcome.
board. We wish you continued success.
Thank
May you
you.
live long and prosper.
Thank you so much.
And that's a wrap of Power Moves today. We will be back with a brand new episode. Till then, take care. Bye.